Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. This video does not follow a typical critical incident briefing type of format. There is no spokesperson from the agency explaining things that are going on, giving you a background, aerial views, etc. The only information that comes for this incident comes from the form of a news release. And with that news release, there are 12 separate body camera videos. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to read to you the news release and then play individually those 12 separate videos. So that's going to make this video pretty long just based off of that. So I will not be able to follow the normal practice of play the whole video and then go back and break it down. So what I'll have to do is I'll play the video, pause momentarily here and there to talk about things that are going on, and then resume from there. I know that's a little bit annoying, but because there's so many videos involved and it's such a long video just based off that, that's what's going to have to be done. So here is the news release. The news release came out on February 1st, 2023. Today, in compliance with Salt Lake City Ordinance, the Salt Lake City Police Department released body-worn camera footage of the officer-involved critical incident from January 13, 2023, near 500 North Star Crest Drive in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'll skip some of this. You can kind of read it on your own. Pause as you want, because I'm going to get down to the meat and potatoes of this. At approximately 2:34 a.m. on Friday, January 13, 2023, Salt Lake Police gang unit was investigating two wanted fugitives, both of whom had felony warrants. Officers found a car as part of that investigation in an alleyway near 1300 West Arapahoe Avenue. Salt Lake Police Gang Unit requested additional patrol officers to help with the traffic stop. When officers initiated the traffic stop at approximately 2:55 a.m., the driver and passenger refused to comply. Officers later identified the driver as 41-year-old I don't know how to pronounce that. Penisamani? Penisamani? I don't know. Let's just call him Penis, because he's a fucking dickhead for doing what he did. So yeah, 41-year-old Penis. Let's go with that. The name of the passenger is not being released. While in the alleyway, officers gave repeated orders to everyone in the car to exit. Neither the suspect nor the passenger obeyed. Body-worn camera video recorded sounds of the suspect reversing and hitting a parked car. As the suspect drove through the alleyway, he crashed into a fence and drove through a yard onto 1300 West, which led to the pursuit. Officers requested air support from Utah Department of Public Safety. During the pursuit, officers used a tire deflation device on the front wheels of the vehicle. Despite this, the suspect continued driving. During the pursuit, the suspect hit two Salt Lake City police vehicles, causing minor damage to both. Body-worn camera video shows the suspect driving recklessly, including on the sidewalk, nearly hitting an officer as the officer exited his marked patrol car. See photo number 1. So you can see this car right up on the sidewalk, driving through there. Luckily, there's no one walking their dog at night or just walking. At approximately 3:08 a.m., the suspect crashed head-on into an empty parked truck near 500 North Star Crest Drive. Suspect got out and ran south towards a house. At this time, there is no information to suggest the suspect had a reason or right to attempt entering the home. Officers ordered him to stop and surrender. While giving commands, the body-worn camera captured the suspect reaching for the home's door handle. There also appears to be an object in the suspect's waistband, according to body-worn camera video. Photos number 3 and 4. So you can see in this image here and in this one being enhanced, he is literally trying to open the door of these people's house. Additionally, body-worn camera shows the suspect reaching down towards the ground, and officers later saying that he had something in his hands. While the primary team of officers worked to stop the suspect, other officers secured the area and safely detained the passenger found in the back seat of the crashed car. An officer deployed a taser, which did not immobilize the suspect. 2 other officers shot. Both shots happened outside. Prior to the shooting, body-worn camera captured one of the officers referencing the suspect in possession of a weapon. Suspect entered the home through a ground-level window. Officers ran after the suspect and continued to give him commands from the window while outside. Body-worn camera video shows the suspect while inside the house appearing to hold an object. A third officer fired additional rounds prior to fully entering the home. Several officers entered the home through the window, front door, and garage. Officers found the suspect inside the home's living quarters and encountered him and 2 people living in the home in the same room. As officers took him into custody, they found and secured a weapon in his possession. At approximately 3:10 a.m., officers radioed they had arrested the suspect. Officers rendered first aid and requested paramedics. At this time, there is no reason to believe the suspect knew the occupants of the house he entered. Paramedics from Salt Lake City Fire and Gold Cross Ambulance took the suspect to the hospital in critical condition. Suspect died January 21, 2023. Autopsy results are pending with the Utah Office of the Medical Examiner. Pursuant to SLC ordinance, the body-worn camera footage is being stopped in this release immediately after the officer-involved critical incident due to private images depicted in the video, including images inside a private residence. SLPD activated the officer-involved critical incident protocol. Blah, 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 blah. Officers on paid administrative leave. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, as you can tell, just from this news release, it's a very complex incident. They've got these people that they're investigating. A pursuit happens. Vehicle crashes. There's one guy still in the car that officers have to deal with, and then there's this other dude who takes off running and causes an officer-involved shooting, and then he goes inside someone's home. Goes inside their house. And then a gunfight happens inside these random people's house. Like, I cannot imagine the terror that these people living in this home are experiencing that night. Just to be rudely awakened like that and someone be in their home and a gunfight going on. So, there is a lot to this incident. It is very interesting looking. Like I said, I have not watched all of the footage yet, but I did watch snippets of it, and it's interesting. There's a lot to see from all the videos themselves. So like I said, I will have to, as I play each individual video, pause here and there to talk about things and then play from there. I know that's annoying, but with all the footage involved, if I try to play everything and then go back, I'm just going to miss so much because there's so much going on. All right. So, let's get into it. Alright, here's the first body cam footage that was in the playlist. Nothing wrong with their audio. The Axon body camera is in buffer mode, so here in a little bit you'll see him reach up to his chest and activate the camera.
Okay, the people inside the house are aware of our presence. They're going to start leaving or freaking out according to source. Got one walking southbound on Concord towards Arapahoe. He looks like a possible.
Alright, so the radio in the background, you could hear the officer saying that there's a source inside the house and that people are aware of the police being outside and they're starting to freak out. I would say that most likely that source is a confidential informant. I wouldn't think that it's an undercover police officer. It could be, but my guess is it's probably most likely a confidential informant. When it comes to the streets talk. They talk a lot. People try to sell others out to avoid going to jail, and they think maybe if they can get somebody off the block, that's going to help them out. You know, and it's funny too because all these gangsters, man, they all want to talk about, you know, they got codes and, you know, their procedures and, you know, the rules of the street, you know, the laws of the street. And one of the big things that is supposed to be a big no-no is no snitching. But they damn near all snitch. Like I said, the streets talk, and a lot of them, like a bunch of little birds, just talk, singing like a canary. I do like how he activates his body camera early on, right? Things happen suddenly, and you may not have time to be able to turn that camera on. So I like how he turns it on very early on in this incident when nothing major is going on anyway. So that's a good thing because sometimes critical things could be missed when things happen all of a sudden. All right, so I'm going to continue play. There's the beginning of this. There is some stuff to watch. When it gets into him driving his vehicle around town, I'm going to skip through some of that. It's a lot of unnecessary watching trees and lights and stuff fly by the windshield. But here we go.
They're in the alley. Tyler, let's go get that guy. One right here, too. Okay, semi. One right here is negative. You sure? There we go.
Were you guys just staying here? I'm gonna go to Nick. What was that? I'm gonna go help Nick and Tyler. Watch Crossfire. Watch Crossfire. Yes, they initiated the stop up there. What? Southbound. Cody, one fled south through the alley. Okay, I'm gonna go check on Nick and
They're trying to come around.
yeah, watch out. No. Yeah, we copy. Shit. To the west?
Alright, so this guy gets out of his car. And damn near knocks this guy down.
Yeah, we copy.
And then wants to become Spider-Man on this person's car. In exigent circumstances, like say they're being shot at, or something very critical's going on, I could see the justification for jumping on someone's property like this. But other than that, this is a hard one to say it's okay on. You jump on a car like this, the material on a vehicle it's not that thick. It's easy to dent it and bend it in. Hell, it's even pretty easy to crack a windshield in some ways. So him running and jumping on this car like this, I personally don't really care for a whole lot. Now, add some other stuff going on, I'm okay. Like, some things are freaking expendable. But right now as it is, I don't see it being necessary to damage or potentially damage someone's personal vehicle like this. So, and also, there's ice and everything, and he almost slipped and fell. So, is the juice worth the squeeze on this? No. He could have very easily jumped up there, slipped, banged his head on his windshield, cracked his nose, and now he's out of the, he's not completely out of the fight, but he's not going to be as effective as he could have been, without a broken nose or something. Hell, he could slip, fall off the other end and break an arm, or like it's just silly, I think, to jump on this car like this. I can only imagine that he's maybe a shorter person, maybe someone who's right around average height or so. That's why he's jumping on this thing, to gain a better advantage, to be able to see over the fence. I don't know, but I just not a big fan of what he did to this person's car. But like I said, add some other stuff in where it's exigent circumstances, by all means. Like, I wouldn't care if he'd, if they're being shot at, I wouldn't care if he'd flip this thing over on its side if he was able to. Like, the hell with that person's car. Like, life comes first, right?
Shit. To the west. You want to go with Miles? Yeah. Do you want to pull your car up right here? In a freaking car?
So, his lapel mic must have an earpiece plugged into it, because you don't hear any radio traffic, but you hear him talking to people, and it sounds like he's talking on a radio, or it sounds like he is uttering a comment in response to something that he's heard. So if you're wondering, like, why is this guy seeming to be talking to himself, that is why I think it sounds like that. The lapel mics, some of them have a little port on there, and you could take any regular headphones and plug them into that port, and the sound no longer comes out of that lapel mic. It goes through that port into your headphones or your earpiece. And some people do that because they don't want other people around them to hear what radio traffic is going on. For example, if they're out with a person and dispatch comes back and says that person has warrants out for their arrest, yada, 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 only that officer will hear that. The other people will not hear that, and that could give that officer an advantage on being able to control that information and release it when they want it released, versus if dispatch just blurted it out on the radio or mentioned it on the radio, that could signal to that person, oh crap, they know I'm wanted, I'm going to run right now. And then that allows them to dictate what's going on. They get to make that first move. If you can control the communications, then in that way you can make that first move. So I do like it from that aspect, but for me personally, I don't like the headphones because I feel like they just end up getting packed with earwax a whole lot, and I spend a lot of time cleaning them out, and plus they just hurt. I haven't come across any that felt good, and so I just haven't really cared for using them much. But anyway, that's why you don't hear any radio traffic, and why it sounds like he's talking to himself. So he turned his lights off, and now he's turned them back on. Here in a little bit, you'll see him turn them back off again, and then turn them back on.
Sorry, I didn't know they were.
So he turns them off, turns them on, and then turns them off again. So why is he doing this? I think that he's doing that because the lights that he has on the inside of the vehicle are not a manufacturer specific kind of light, meaning they're not made specifically for that vehicle and to butt up against the windshield in a manner that reduces splashback. For example, this freeze frame right here, when this blue light flashes or when the red light flashes, it lights up the entire interior of this vehicle, and you can see a pretty big reflection of that off that windshield. This camera just does not do it any justice on what that looks like through the human eye. I guarantee you that there were times that he probably could not see very well out his windshield, and having the lights turned on, it was a danger for him to be driving with them turned on, because they were essentially blinding him and preventing him from being able to see the roadway. So you can get from these manufacturers of lights, like Code 3 or Federal Signal, or actually I think Code 3 is Federal Signal, whatever. Say Federal Signal. You can get a product from Federal Signal made specifically for a certain vehicle, like a 2020 Dodge Charger or a 2022 Ford Explorer or a 2012 Impala, like whatever. And they're made specifically for those vehicles, with the way the headrest is dimensioned, and the curvature of the windshield, and the distance between point A, B, C, and D, and E, whatever. These things are designed in a way that when they're properly installed, they are extremely close to the windshield, and there's like a little shelf under them, a little barrier thing that butts up against that windshield, and it limits this splashback effect. It makes the light go more out and stay out versus coming back into the car. This light that he has is not like that. It just looks like it's something that is forward of the rear view mirror, and it's just a general, some kind of light that it was made to go inside the car, so that they wouldn't have to drill any holes through the roof, and it'd be contained inside the car, and also make the car look more slick. That way, it's not a very noticeable police car. On something like this, it really depends on what kind of look they're going for. When it comes to interior light bars, I do believe that the light bars made for specific body models and years should be utilized to reduce that splashback. If you're going for a very low pro look and you don't want people to notice those lights and things like that, obviously going with that full light bar package on the inside is not a good idea, and you may have to go with smaller options. Having lights hidden in the grille of the vehicle, that can be pretty good in my opinion. The hood of the vehicle, I forget the particular model, it's from Federal Signal, I think. It's a very small light, like a 4 LED or 5 LED kind of light thing that you can mount to the hood, in between the hood and the windshield, closest to the windshield wipers. So that space right there, you can mount these lights on there. And I thought that was kind of a cool, unique lighting option. It puts the lights to the exterior of the vehicle, completely shuts out any chances of flashback, obviously. The only downside is they stick out just a little bit. Like they're a little bit noticeable, but not as noticeable as a full-on light bar or anything like that. So that's a pretty cool option. Those are pretty cool things to go with. But the downside is, one downside is that instead of it being up there at the top of the visor, highest point of the vehicle, it's down at the hood portion of the vehicle. But anyway, enough of that kind of side ranting. But the reason why he's turning the lights on and off is I just don't think he can see outside the windshield. Alright, so I'm going to skip through some of this because he is just driving around at this point. There's a pursuit going on. He's trying to catch up to where they are. He busts some intersections with his lights here and there, and then he turns them off. And he keeps going and going and going. At one point, he gets to an intersection where they're going to be coming through. And here he is at that intersection right now.
Two front tires are flat with spikes.
So they had used spike strips to flatten his tires during this pursuit. And you can't hear what they're saying on the pursuit because he has that earpiece in, I think. You can see during this pursuit, you can see flashing lights to the front of him. So he is pretty close onto this pursuit here. You can see the lights right up in there. You can even hear the sirens at some points. But I'll skip through some more of this. Alright, so now it's getting close to action time. So this dude, he came from this direction. Here's the suspect vehicle right here. Let me back this up a few seconds. Police, get on the ground! So there's the suspect vehicle. There's the suspect right there taking off running. So this guy, get on the ground! He came from this direction right here, drove in between the suspect and this other police vehicle right here, putting himself in between the crossfire of the bad guys and the good guys. Not the smartest move in my opinion. I think the smartest thing for him to have done was, as he approached this and noticed they crashed out, stop his vehicle where it's at, right there in the roadway, dismount from the vehicle and run to this side over here. Run the sidewalk and then run towards where friendly forces are to get him out of the kill zone, so to speak. Instead, he Leroy Jenkins it right here in this opening, right between the suspect's vehicle and the police car, and then comes to a stop and gets out on foot. I don't think that was the greatest move to be making. All right, moving on.
Watch the car. Hold up. Watch the car. Watch the car. Let's check the car. Let's clear the car. Let's clear the car. Okay, copy. Hold on. Let's hold here. Yep. In the back seat. Show us your hands. I got his hands. Show us both of your fucking hands now. No, keep your hands up. Watch him digging. I got this. Back up. Oh. Back up. Crazy. Fuck. Yes, keep eyes on the vehicle. Go toward me now. Hold up.
All right, so suspect runs to the front of the house, and other officers go towards them, and then these officers stay behind to deal with his vehicle. As they're dealing with this guy, the other officers dealing with the suspect who ran, shots fired. So that creates one heck of a scenario for them to deal with. They've got this bad guy that they're dealing with and trying to contain and control, and then boom, their co-workers are getting into a gunfight with someone right down from where they're at. So that had to be extremely stressful for them, trying to maintain situational awareness on two different planes right there, trying to keep track of this guy, what he's doing, and then boom, gunfights going on up there. Where are they aiming at? Where are they shooting at? There's a lot to be thinking about in this kind of scenario right here. A lot of them have pistols out, and one has rifle. In my opinion, whoever has that rifle needs to be the person who takes a dominating role with providing lethal cover. They are the ones who dominate that battle space. A rifle is far superior to a pistol. A pistol sucks. It really does. It sucks right out the box. It has a very short barrel, and pistol caliber ammunition was just born to suck. No other better way to say it. A rifle has a longer barrel. It's more accurate. You got more points of contact on there to hold that thing to help stabilize it further to make it even more accurate. And the terminal ballistics are night and day in comparison to pistol. It can take fewer rifle rounds to rapidly incapacitate a threat than it can with pistol. It can take 3 rifle rounds to cause rapid incapacitation with a threat. It could take 5, 10, 15 rounds of pistol to get the same effect. So the guy with the rifle, I would have liked to have seen him take a more dominating position and covering this guy with that rifle. That way, if he became a deadly physical threat, that rifle would be the thing to deal with that threat. The sirens in the background, that is super annoying. Super annoying. The siren manufacturers build their sirens with the capability to have the siren wired up to the brakes and park selector of the vehicle, so that when you throw that vehicle into park, it shuts the siren off. Well, isn't that nifty? They also come with cool features, like you can wire the damn thing into the horn of the vehicle, so when you lay down on the horn, you hit the steering wheel area that make the horn go off. That causes the siren tone to change. So it goes from wail to yelp or hyper yelp or whatever what other sounds or features are on that siren box. Those are pretty cool things, right? Unfortunately, not everyone knows how to hook those things up. There is no, I guess you could say, national standard when it comes to police vehicles. One of the nice things about the fire service is they have NFPA, National Fire Protection Act, and that can have some standardization with how things are set up in some ways. But with emergency vehicles in general, especially for police vehicles, there is no set standard on those. So when people wire vehicles up, it's different all across the board. You may have some places where they wire a vehicle up in such a way that when you turn the ignition to the off position, everything shuts off. Like, you can't get anything to turn on unless you turn the vehicle on. And places will do that because they're sick and tired of dealing with people's cars being dead when they forgot to switch off a computer or they forgot to switch something off and it drained the battery. So they do that to alleviate that. But personally, I think that's not the greatest way to wire a vehicle, because I think it would be a good idea to be able to have the emergency lights activated and still have the engine in the off position. When it comes to wiring up those siren boxes, some places will just hook up the positive and negative wire and then run the speaker wires to the speaker and call it quits. They install the siren makes the whoop whoop noise. That's all they need to do. They don't take the time to wire up all the other stuff, either because A, they're lazy, or B, they just don't know how to do it because they've never done it. Or C, they don't really have the time to be messing around with it because they got all this other stuff to mess around with. Other places will fully hook up everything. So you can see places that have their own maintenance shop, I guess you could kind of call it. Those are likely to have all the bells and whistles, so to speak, wired in, because they can take the time to do that, and they can make everything look nice and neat when they do an emergency vehicle wiring as well. All right, so that's the pretty much end of this video. The slide bar thing, play bar, whatever you call this thing, is all the way to the end. So not much else for this particular video. Moving on to the next one. All right, let's go to the second officer here. Nothing wrong with your audio. His body camera is in buffer mode. Here in less than 30 seconds, we'll hear some audio.
In there.
Police, get out of the vehicle!
Driver, step out of the vehicle! Driver, step out of the vehicle with your hands up!
Do you want me to go?
Details, we gotta have some guys in the car.
Yeah.
So that clicking noise that you're hearing is a wigwag box. So this is just a box you can get. It has, I don't really know what's inside the damn things. I guess like a relay of some sort inside of it. And you can wire this thing into the tail lights or the headlights of your vehicle. And when you supply power to this box, it will then cause those lights that it's wired into to start flashing back and forth. So if you've ever seen like a railroad train coming down the tracks and its headlights are beaming on and off, left and right, like a wigwag is what it's called. But one, like the left side flashes, and then it goes off. The right side flashes, it goes off. Left side flashes, it goes off. Right side flashes, it goes off. So it's just a back and forth. It's just pop, 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 pop. Well, that's that noise that you're hearing. That box can actually be pretty darn loud. And I'm kind of surprised that they even have something as old as a wigwag box installed in a vehicle, and it is 2023. Like, I remember having a wigwag box in my vehicle, and I actually had the old school Gauls wigwag box, and it had the button on it, and you click the button and it would make that loud click, 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 click noise, but the headlights would flash left and right on bright. So there's other products out there that aren't as loud. Why they're not using it, I don't know. I would imagine that whoever they have in charge of wiring up their vehicles and stuff like that, they probably have kept some of the older stuff that came out of older vehicles, and they just repurpose it into newer vehicles.
Trying to go intercom?
Yeah.
This is the Salt Lake City Police Department. Occupants inside of the vehicle exit with your hands empty and in the air. Volume good?
Yep, perfect.
This is the Salt Lake City Police Department.
So I will say that technology obviously has come a long way, and we now have two-way radios that are capable of accepting a Bluetooth microphone. So you don't even have to have a shoulder mic with a cord on it anymore. Like, you can take that cord completely out of the equation and just put this little box on your shoulder, on your shirt, and you click it, talk into it, and it Bluetooths to your radio and then broadcasts out to the net. I think that it would probably be a good idea if siren manufacturers could come up with a Bluetooth microphone for the siren. That way, you would not have to be reliant on being sitting inside the vehicle to use the PA. You could unhook the Bluetooth mic from its mount, stand outside the car, talk into it, go to the back of the car, take cover behind the vehicle, which is a better place to be at, and speak into this Bluetooth mic and broadcast out on the PA.
Get out of the car! Stop the car!
We're kind of in a crappy spot right here in this tight alley.
Stop the vehicle! Stop the vehicle!
Doors opening, doors opening.
Break through the house to the west. Get out of the car!
Salt Lake City Police Department, get out of the vehicle!
Ready to move out the way if they decide to back.
Yeah.
you can hear the vehicle in the background ramming into stuff.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to come out 13th West, 2014, through the yard. Moving up on the street, behind the truck, yeah, carry on.
The only thing I'll say at this point is he's obviously running lights. You can see it reflecting off things as he drives by it, but there's no siren turned on. I think it's a good idea that if you're going to be driving down the road with lights turned on, especially at speed, then you need to have your sirens turned on as well.
Got a bike dog?
So dude obviously has no regard for anybody in the public. Somebody could have been walking down the sidewalk at night, taking their dog for a walk. Someone could just be jogging at night because they don't work a standard Monday through Friday from morning to afternoon shift. They might work nights or something, and this is the only time they can get out and exercise, whatever. Driving up on the sidewalk like that is a clear sign that this person has no regard for anybody's life or anything like that. At this point, they are for sure a substantial risk to the rest of the public. This is non-negotiable at this point. There's no doubt that they are a substantial risk to the rest of the public. I would argue that the officers would have a justifiable defense to using deadly physical force under Tennessee versus Gardner at this point. Alright, so he doesn't heed to the warnings to get out of the car, so now we're going to skip.
We're just preparing for the termination point if they're not compliant.
At least in this one,
I'll let you know.
We can hear some background chatter with the radio. They're trying to coordinate what's going on. But just not a whole lot is going on during this pursuit part. We're getting close to action time.
He has something in his hand! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Shut your fucking ass! Back up! Hey! To the house. 1, 2, 3. Stop right now! Salt Lake City Police!
Alright, and so this is pretty much where the video ends. They don't show anymore because it would be them going into these people's house and showing the inside of the house. So some places have policies against showing the inside of people's houses, or it may even be written into their law that they do not show too much of the inside of a person's house. So the driver has fled from his vehicle, gone to the front of this house right here, and he actually tries the door handle to get in the house. You'll see in another body cam footage, you'll see him come up to the door, trying the door handle, trying to get in. So this brings up some talking points from a couple different avenues. One from a home defense kind of scenario, and then two from the responsibility of the officers to capture this fleeing felon. So let's start with home defense. You're at home, you're in bed, you're asleep, or maybe you're watching, Skinamax or something like that late at night, or you're watching YouTube or reading Wikipedia, like whatever the heck it is you do at your house late at night. And then you hear all these sirens outside. And then you can hear people yelling outside of your house. And then you hear a window break. And the sound of what sounds like somebody coming into your house. That's a lot to digest right there. Like, you can see the lights, flashing against your blinds. You can hear the sirens outside, people yelling, and then boom, there is a crash noise through the window and sounds like somebody coming in, and then you hear gunshots, and the gunshots are super close. Sounds like they are inside the house. What do you do at that point? Well, it's going to depend on where you're at, where other members of your family are at in your house, etc. So everyone's house is different. If it was the kind of scenario where you hear it downstairs, nobody lives downstairs, nobody stays downstairs for anything, it's just you and your significant other, you sleep upstairs, and you hear this going on downstairs, the best course of action may be just to go lock your bedroom door and point your gun at that door. And if anybody comes through that damn door, you deal with them. What if you're on a single story kind of residence and it's on one side of the house, but you've got a children's room in between you and that noise, or the children's room is closer to that noise? What are you doing at that point? Me personally, I'm going to go towards the children's towards the children's room. I don't know what these noises are for sure. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it is my duty at that point to go protect my family. You have to keep in mind, based on the totality of the circumstances, you hearing the sirens outside, you see the flashing blue and red lights against your, your blinds, or even if you can see the actual cars outside, whatever, you hear all this stuff, you have to think about the possibility that there could be police coming into your house at some point. They see you with a gun, it's going to be a crappy situation all around. So you have to be prepared to instantaneously react to that by just dropping your gun completely and submitting to the police. What if they crash through your window and they're in your room? Well, what do you do at that point? Well, there's a couple things you could do, and it really depends on where your gun is at and how it's stored. If it's immediately accessible, it may be in your best interest to engage that threat. If it's not in your immediate reach, say you keep it in your closet, you keep it in a safe, something like that, you cannot immediately get to it, your best option may be to grab your significant other, or if you're by yourself, just get out of bed and run out the damn door. Get out of there. So I can't tell you what to do, because there's so many different variables that could be involved here. Every house layout is going to be different. It's just a big what if. But if you decide to do something, you need to be aware of the fact that most likely police are going to be coming into your home in hot pursuit of this person. It's exigent circumstances. They can come into your home without your permission. And they're going to have guns out. And they may be pointing guns at you. That's just something that you are going to have to deal with. You're going to have to accept that and go with that. If you start pointing your guns back, bad things are probably going to happen to you. You can hear this guy screaming, like, kill me, something like that. Obviously, this guy doesn't want smoke. If he did, well, he would have done something to get them to shoot him, right? First of all, he just would not have ran in the car. He simply would have got out and pointed a gun at them first thing. So this guy's not truly trying to do a unsubscribe from life by police. I don't think that he has the ideological belief or desire to unsubscribe himself from life. I think he is stalling at this point. He is trying to buy time. He knows he's kind of cornered. He is saying this stuff to kind of act in a posturing manner to keep them at bay. Because if he can keep them at a distance, he might be able to react in some way to get away. One tries to deploy taser, doesn't seem to have the desired effect. They shoot him, and he either purposely falls backwards into that window, or he falls into it. I'm not really sure at this point which it could be. But boom, I talk about a wild ass kind of scenario. Fighting with blinds suck. The best thing I think to do is just to reach high, grip it, and then rip it downwards. Try to rip that damn thing out of the way. Trying to push them to the side and whatnot, it's just not really going to work very well. They're just going to kind of swing back into place. The other alternative is to grab low and lift all the way high. And then you're going to have to be holding that thing up with one hand and then shooting with your other hand. So kind of a wild scenario here. I mean, this guy has now break and entered into someone's house. This now creates kind of a weird shooting platform. Like, no one's ever most likely replicated this on a shooting range, right? Like, no one's done this before. Like, no one's had to, like, stand at, one level and then shoot down into a sort of, I wouldn't call this subterranean level, but a lower level that's below what the level you're on, and having to contend with blinds. So this has to be completely new to them. Like, they've probably never experienced anything like this before. I haven't even experienced anything like this before, trying to lift blinds up out of the way and aim at someone into a basement or a sub room or whatever. So this is why training at the range should involve some barricades and firing at odd angles and stuff like that, and just not be so monotonous with just flat range stuff, like standing square to your target and shooting paper targets all day long. Like, if that's the only thing you ever do shooting wise, you're wrong. You need to get barricades of some sort out that force you to have to shoot at odd angles.
Shut your fucking ass! Back up! Hey! To the house. 1, 2, 3. Stop right now!
All right. So police going into someone's house like this, you have to be aware of the fact that the homeowners may have guns. They may have been able to sleep through all the sirens outside, and may have even been asleep to some extent to all the noises going on outside, and then woke up late into the game on this as you're busting through the door going through the house. And now they're awake, and now they hear what sounds like people inside the house, loud noises outside. They know there's someone in the house, they just don't know who. They hear yelling. That's a real possibility. There's been people who've slept through a whole lot of stuff. I've slept through storms. I've slept through cow alarms and trees falling in the yard and big old lightning storm. And it's just, some people can sleep through a lot of stuff. And so that's something that you have to be aware of. And so when it comes to targeted discrimination, you may have to consider that you're going to have to be a little bit slower in some of the stuff that you do, so that you don't end up popping the homeowner who's just simply responding to noises in his house. And they may have impaired hearing. They may not be able to hear very well what's going on. They can just hear enough to know that there's some people inside their house, and they just woke up. They're still groggy. They don't know what the hell's going on. It's kind of a really crappy scenario to be in. I think that working from the window would probably be the best bet. That guy went in through that window. You get visual on the bad guy, put sights on bad guy, and just let the bad guy have it. The bad guy has already entered into these people's dwelling. These people would definitely have a justifiable defense to using deadly physical force to protect themselves. And so these officers, I think, which we can't really see what they can see, but I think that if they could see him and it was safe for them to do so, I think they just should have started just opening up on the bad guy. Like, shoot him down right where he is so he cannot move any deeper into this house and potentially take hostages or anything like that. This is 110% for sure a substantial risk to the rest of the public. This guy is, having gone into these people's home. So even if the guy had his back turned and, they couldn't even see a gun in his hand, just the mere fact of him having breaking and entered into this home is green light. Put him down where he cannot go any deeper into that house. Alright, not much else to say about this body cam footage. Let's go on to the next. All right, here is the third one. Nothing wrong with your audio. It is in buffer mode. Here in less than 30 seconds, we will hear audio from the camera.
(962) copy, uniform 329 Yankee X-ray occupied. Police, get out of the vehicle! 962, it's trying to flee southbound through the alley. Back to the hill. Yeah.
Robert, step out of the vehicle with your hands up.
If he bails, we gotta have some guys on the car.
Stay off the air. They are non-compliant, still in the alley facing southbound. None of them have exited the car yet. Yeah.
One try to push in the patrol car a little bit farther, so we have better cover.
This is the Salt Lake City Police Department. Occupants inside
I think
of the
we got enough
vehicle,
containment.
exit with your hands empty and
Keep
in the
distance.
air.
Yep, perfect.
This is the Salt Lake City Police Department.
The vehicle is reversing. Stand by. Alright, they're running into a vehicle in front of them, fleeing southbound through the alley. In the vehicle, they may be stuck.
Let's push the patrol car up.
Yeah, push the patrol car up. Get out of the car! Stop the car!
Just keep going.
Go, go, go. Stop! There you go, there you go, there you go.
Out the vehicle!
South alley, guys. Watch out for crossfire. (962), he's trying to break through the house to the west of us. He's driving through the fence. Get out of the car!
Salt Lake City Police Department, get out of the vehicle!
Okay, they're going to be trying to come out to 13th West. They're coming towards you now, through the yard.
I'm moving up on this vehicle, set up behind this truck.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
963, they're moving.
So he appears to be in just a regular car. You can see the Mitsubishi emblem right here on the steering wheel. To my knowledge, they don't make police cars, at least not here in the U.S. They might have in their originating country, but here in the U.S., they don't have any service vehicles. So he is obviously not a regular patrol officer. He is something else. And so this car just may not have any lights and siren in it at all, because they use this car to go do drug buys and do surveillance and blend in with the rest of the population, because it is literally a car that can actually blend in with everybody else. Like, it always cracks me up when I see agencies take a stupid Crown Vic, don't put any letters on it whatsoever, just leave it a solid color, doesn't have a spotlight on it or nothing, and they're like, yeah, this is our undercover car. Like, are you fucking stupid? The Crown Vic is the definition of a police car, and you're trying to pass this thing off as being a plain vehicle that no one's going to notice. You can literally tell the headlights coming and know that's a freaking Crown Vic. You can see the tail lights and know that's a freaking Crown Vic. So same thing like a Taurus or a Charger or something like that. Like, that is a known shape of a police car. So it makes sense to take something that is not used as a police car, like a Nissan Altima. Who uses a Nissan Altima as a police car? Nobody. Who uses a 4Runner as a patrol car? Nobody. So obviously this car is for blending in. So it probably doesn't even have hideaway lights or anything like that. So now this guy is in a situation where he is going to have to drive in a manner in which he cannot really do, because he doesn't have lights and siren. He's not going to be able to bust intersections very well. Yes, he could still go through a red light safely if there's no other vehicles around, but if there's other vehicles around, they're not going to stop for him because he has no warning lights or anything like that. So he's kind of at a disadvantage at this point, I think, because a lack of emergency lights and siren. I don't know why his camera's covered. Must be his seatbelt.
You guys see what?
No, we weren't up close.
So not sure what he stopped for. He may have been stopping to see if they threw something on the vehicle potentially. I'm not really sure.
car.
All right. So he gets here, and then he goes to this car right here to try and open it up. So my assumption is he is trying to get into this car because the siren's turned on. He's wanting to turn it off. So siren control boxes, to my knowledge, from all manufacturers, have the ability to have extra wires coming out of it to be able to wire into existing wires of the vehicle, so that you can wire it in correctly, that when you throw the car into park, it shuts the siren off. You don't even have to reach down to the box and turn it into the off position. Just simply throwing the vehicle in the park overrides it and shuts it off completely. It varies from agency to agency, area to area, as far as how much of that stuff is actually utilized. It does take extra time to wire that stuff in. It's not as simple as putting the box in the car, running speaker wires from the box to the speaker outside, and then running your power and your negative to the box. That is the most simplest install that you can do, and unfortunately a lot of places just stick to that. That's all they do. But the siren boxes can do a whole lot more. You can wire them in to the vehicle so that when you, like I said, you throw the car in the park, boom, it shuts the siren off. As you're driving down the road and you press the horn on the steering wheel, just pressing that can actually change the tone of the siren. So you can go from wail and then hit the horn, and it changes it over to yelp. You hit it again, it changes it over to something like hyper yelp or something like that. Hit it again, and it goes to back to wail, or maybe to a high low or something. But it can go through the different siren tones just by pressing the horn on the steering wheel. That's pretty neat. But that takes time to go in to the dashboard, underside of the vehicle, or underside of the dashboard, inside the vehicle, to open that up, expose those wires, splice into them, run your loom and everything, and then tuck it all away, and it be nice and neat. It takes extra time to do that. You can even have your siren hooked up to your two-way radio. That way, when you go to get out of the car, you can switch that thing over on your selector, and when you're out of your car, all your radio traffic plays through your speaker. Like, how cool is that, right? But a lot of people just don't take the time to wire those things in. Some vehicles that agencies get come pre-wired, everything in it, everything works. They don't even have to pay anybody to do anything. They just buy it from a distributor like that. Other places go the cheaper route. They just get the base model, and then they do all the upkits and uplifts and all that. And then they just stick to throwing the box in, running speaker wire, power negative, and then they call it a day. If you have a vehicle that these futures are not turned on, they're not wired in, it's not that hard to do it. It's just annoying. I personally just don't like doing like mechanical work on a vehicle, crawling and everything, and being bent over trying to do stuff. I just don't find joy in that. Being 6'8", it's kind of hard for me to bend down and get up under a dashboard and contort my body in a way to be able to do that. That's something that I think smaller people have an easier time doing. But if you can do it yourself, certainly go ahead and do it. Is anybody really going to know? Not really. I mean, unless they, go to decommission the vehicle and they take everything out, then maybe somebody might know. But no one's going to know that you spliced into the wires that control, the gear selector on your vehicle. Like, no one's going to know about that crap. So I think you could do it and get away with it. If you're like on a county agency, I can guarantee you there's like some volunteer firefighters who definitely know how to do all that stuff. Just go find that firefighter who's got like $5,000 worth of light and siren equipment in their car, and they will be able to hook you up with installing those proper wirings on there to get your siren to do what it needs to do. So not much else from his view. We don't get to see a whole lot. So we'll end it here and we'll go on to the next. All right. Here is the 4th body cam footage. Again, nothing wrong with audio. Body camera is in buffer mode. Here in less than 30 seconds, there will be sound. We'll go ahead and skip.
I'm gonna go watch this corner. All right. So he's fleeing.
I think there's one right here in front of us, red car.
See him?
I'm gonna go up and meet the pilot. Okay. Yeah, what's crossfire? Where did you speak to?
He just said southbound. I'm gonna peek this.
One foot south of the alley. Stay up there. They are non-compliant. Still in the alley, facing southbound. And none of them have exited the car yet.
I can see her. Yeah, you're good. I got this garbage can. I don't know how good a I don't know how good a cover that is. The garbage can. I got decent eyes right here.
So you be aware they are moving around a ton in that front seat. Vehicle is reversing.
Uh-oh, they're trying to come around.
Watch out!
Southbound through the alley in the vehicle. They may be stuck.
They're stuck. They're stuck.
Hey, they're wanted for felony and aggravated robbery.
Is this locked?
No.
Go. I'll follow behind you.
South alley, guys. Watch out for crossfire. Yeah, we got you.
Uh-oh, jumping fences.
962 is trying to break through the house to the west of us, driving through the fence.
Should we go west? I don't know whether to stay here or go with Miles. I don't know. You good here? They're coming this way. Are they going west or are they trying to go west? Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to come out 13th west. They're coming towards you now, through the yard.
I'm gonna go over there.
They're moving. West End on Arapahoe. We're pursuing. Felony 1, aggravated robbery warrant.
Hey, I'll take June.
Whoever's got eyes on, call it out.
I got eyes. We're headed southbound on Southern South, or eastbound Southern South.
So I didn't know they were. Is car 9 available?
Let's go.
hands up. We are to 300 south. They're going westbound 300 south. Or sorry, 400 south from Goshen.
So we'll skip through some of this.
No traffic. Bound almost through Concord. Bound. Just they're backing up. They're trying to get away. Turning west, 700 north from Redwood. Southbound again on Crest Drive. They just crashed. One fleet, driver fleeing south and west. He's trying to get in the house. Driver. I'm on you. Watch the driver. Yep, got you.
Crossfire.
Where is he?
In the back seat. Show us your hands! I got his hands. Show us your hands! Fucking keep your hands up! Keep your hands up! Keep your hands up! Watch him digging!
He's digging in his waistband. Keep out.
Back up!
Oh!
Back up!
Taser! Oh, shoot! You got eyes on him?
Hey, let me drop that. Stop right now! Stop right now!
Please! Dodge.
Stop right now! Stop right now!
Please!
Alright, so we get to see a little bit more in this one as they are starting to make entry. In that last video, they shut it down kind of short of this, and I don't think we got to hear those additional shots being fired in that last video. So as this guy in front of him is making entry into the house, the dudes at the window are popping more rounds at the bad guy.
Oh!
Back up!
Taser! Oh, shoot! You got eyes on him?
Hey, let me drop that.
So not much to see from this one. Let's move on to the next. Alright, here is the 5th body camera. Nothing wrong with audio. It's an Axon camera in buffer mode. Looks like he was checking some email.
X-ray occupied. And there's one right here in front of this red car. Stay up there. They are non-compliant. still in the alley facing southbound. None of them have exited the car yet.
Alright, let's start skipping through some of this.
Look around with them.
Okay. We're headed southbound on 500 South. Sorry, eastbound 500 South.
I don't think people realize or understand how much these damn things shake. Like, they can get annoying sometimes, just sitting there rattling. Just Okay. So let's back up to the car. Drop their lunch. Yeah, at that point, what's going on? Screw that damn thing. That thing is expendable. You do not need to be wasting time picking up your little food container and throwing it back in the car. Just let it sit on the ground. Those things are cheap. You could buy another one. The hell with it.
Get on the fucking ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Yes, look at his hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
So this officer doesn't really do anything. They had what I thought was, I mean, they had a pretty good position right here to see this guy pretty clearly. Not all this other stuff in the way. Like, they had a pretty good spot right here.
Get on the ground! Yes, look at his hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Yeah, I mean, they had, I thought, pretty good angles on this dude. They could have lit him up a little bit better, but for whatever reason, they chose not to shoot him. So, kind of useless. On to the next. Okay, body camera 7. Let's get into this one. So this appears to be a just a regular vehicle. Doesn't appear to be a traditional police vehicle. Looks like he's got a gear selector right there on the center console. Not very common for police vehicles.
Police, get out of the vehicle! Step out of the vehicle!
He's gonna try to leave.
Notice his pistol here. You got weapon-mounted light, got a red dot on top, and this looks like a mag funnel. And then, of course, he's got the plus extension magazine base plate on his magazine there. So this is a setup that some people use, and it's kind of born, I think, from competition shooting. It used to be the only time you saw red dots on pistols was like competition shooters. Now, of course, things have evolved. Things have gotten better. Technology's better, and now it is a very common thing to see people carrying on a daily basis. Aside from the red dot, you know, having the mag funnel and the extended magazine floor plate extender thing in there. Again, that's kind of something that I think is is somewhat derived from the competition world, kind of made its way over into the fighting world. The mag funnel is just a widened base to the magazine, so that when you go to insert that magazine, you don't have to be exactly precise with getting it in the hole. The mag funnel enlarges the opening there, and it's what its name is intended. It's a funnel, so you can hit either wall of this funnel, and you may not be exactly straight with the magazine going into the mag well, but because you've hitting this funnel, it is guiding you into the mag well. It's making you get that magazine seated into the mag well easier, so that if you weren't exactly straight lined and had the angles correctly, it will just kind of like guide you in, kind of like pouring a bunch of water into a funnel. It's going to keep it all contained and push it into the hole that it needs to go into. When it comes to the plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, 4, whatever base plate extenders, I'm not a big fan of adding a bunch of aftermarket accessory kind of stuff to the factory part of the gun. If you're wanting a magazine that has extra capacity, then just buy a factory magazine that is made to be larger. If you're rocking a Glock 19, just get you some Glock 17 magazines to throw into that thing. You don't have to get any plus extender base plate things on there. Just buy the Glock 17 mag. It's going to fit in there. If you got a Glock 17, you can go with the PMag 21 round magazine. The PMag pistol mags, I've got a bunch of them. I've got several 21 rounders. They work just like the AR magazine. It works. It's a good product. And sometimes you don't get good stuff when it's another company making a magazine for a gun and they don't even make guns. Like there's some South Korean high capacity magazines for Glocks, and those can be hit or miss. People talk about the reliability of those things not being so great. Other cheaper manufacturers kind of trying to copy the factory Glock magazine may not be getting it too well, and you may not be getting good results out of it. PMag, on the other hand, no problems whatsoever. I have not had any problems with my PMags. The only thing negative I have to say about some of my PMags is when I fire the slide lock, it doesn't lock the slide back. A lot of times when I hit that last round, the slide goes back into battery. That's the only negative thing I have to say about my PMags for my Glock. Other than that, they work just as good as the factory magazines from Glock. So if you want a magazine that has some plus 2, plus 3 capability, just buy a freaking PMag I think it's called the G21 mag. And if you got a Glock 19, just get you a Glock 17 magazine to throw in the gun. Super simple. You don't have to go buy all this goofy shit and add stuff to it and run the possibility of a magazine not even working.
962 is trying.
I'm going to skip through some of this because we've kind of already seen this with a couple of the others.
Just keep going.
Go.
Go.
South alley, guys. Watch out for crossfire.
Oh.
962, he's trying to break through the house to the west of us. He's driving through the fence. Get out of the car!
Salt Lake City Police Department, get out of the vehicle!
This fucking dude.
Okay, they're going to be trying to come out 13th West. They're coming towards you. Vehicle set up behind the front. Gotcha. You covering house on the left? Yep. Did they make it west? Yeah. They're moving.
Alright, so I'll back this up real quick.
Set up behind the front. Gotcha. You covering house on the left? Yep.
Alright, so I like where his mindset's at. They were all focused on the car. The car made its way out the other way. This guy is having the mindset of having a 360 awareness of what's going on and being protected from all angles. And he is covering this sector over here, making sure that there wasn't anybody hiding over here or anything like that to get the drop on them. So good mindset on this guy. So like I said, he's not in a typical police vehicle, but this one has been outfitted with some concealed lights, and it has a siren box in here that has like a remote head, and this might even be a combo light and siren control head thing. Traditional boxes or whatever are pretty large, and they go in the center console rack, and those are kind of like the old school way of doing things. The newer way of doing things with better technology is you put the big box that has like all the fuses and, you know, all that stuff in it in a different part of the vehicle. Like sometimes, you know, there's a place in the trunk of the vehicle or the cargo space of the vehicle to put the big control boxes, and then you just run a wire from that big control box to a smaller little device that you press a button, it sends a signal to the big box in the trunk to make, you know, that thing do whatever it is that you want it to do. So these are called remote heads because they are a remote for the bigger box. Federal Signal's smart siren is set up like that. It's like a big control box, and you can mount that thing in the trunk, run phone line. It actually uses freaking phone line. Run that to your control head, and that control head is so small that you can virtually mount that thing anywhere. One place I was with, we mounted on a couple of the vehicles, not all of them, but a couple of vehicles, we actually mounted them up on the ceiling of the vehicle instead of having in the center console area. So while you're driving, you just reach your hand up and flip the switch, and it would activate everything. So that was kind of a cool way to mount a siren control remote head, is having it right there on the ceiling. You just reach up, click it, and boom, it works. And that was in a vehicle that did not have a traditional like center console for you know, all the radio racks and all that stuff. It was a kind of a consumer model vehicle, what some people call a civilian vehicle. I don't really like that terminology, but it was just a regular, you know, off the lot kind of vehicle. Had normal center console, little storage box thing in the middle, and so we couldn't really put, you know, a bunch of stuff right there in the middle. So that worked out beautifully, being able to put it on the ceiling. Anyway, enough of the nerd talk. Moving on. Alright, we're going to skip through some of this because all pursuits are boring unless you get to be in them.
Get Overshoot! Shit! Cover your fucking ass! Back up! Back up! Hey! Get this up! We gotta get in there! Cover your fucking ass! Stop right now! Stop right there! Stop! Get this! Cover your fucking ass! Back up! Back up! Hey! Get this up! We gotta get in there! Cover your fucking ass! Stop right now! Stop right there!
All right. Not much else to really say about this one. Some of the same stuff that I would talk about, you know, unusual firing positions, I've already talked about. So, on to the next one. Here we go with body cam 7. Skip through some of the beginning stuff. All right. I would have liked.
Driver, step.
I would have liked to have seen these guys out with rifles. You know, if they're going to be hunting people down and going in to do an arrest on people they know are problems, then you need to have rifles out. Rifles dominate gunfights. Rifles stop gunfights a lot faster. Rifles stop the threat a lot faster and better than pistol.
Out of the vehicle!
Don't know why he doesn't have his spotlight activated, but it's always good to throw as much bright white light at people as possible.
Better cover.
Driver, step out of the vehicle with your hands up!
There we go.
Yep. How far up you want it? Just keep going. Go. Stop the vehicle! Stop the vehicle!
Doors opening.
To break through the house to the
West.
Get out of the car! Salt Lake City Police Department, get out of the vehicle!
Back up, let's get some cover real quick. Just be ready to move out the way if they decide to back up into us.
Alright, I'm moving up on this vehicle set up behind this truck.
Gotcha.
Cover left.
Left?
Yeah. They're on.
then, like the other one, skip through the pursuit because also like the loud engine noises, sirens.
Start Crest Drive.
Stop! Passenger, get out of the vehicle! Passenger, get out of the vehicle! Get the driver. Driver. Go help him with the driver! Crossfire. He's in the back seat. Hands! I got his hands. Can you get out? Keep your hands up! All right, crawl towards me. Watch it! He's about to pull some out of his pocket. Back up! Yep, I got him. Can you get out of the vehicle? Crawl toward me now. Come on.
I didn't do anything. You took my car.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in cuffs real quick.
Okay.
I got it. Now. Yep, I got him. Towards me. Hey, no, keep your hands up. All right.
So this dude, don't know how he ended up in that position, but boom, there he is in the back seat. And this is why you've got to check vehicles before you just run and leave them, or just blatantly just run past them. There could be somebody inside that vehicle. Luckily for them, this guy did not want to be an aggressor. If it was a different scenario, this guy was aggressive, that would have been a real heck of an ordeal for them to deal with two aggressive kind of people. So luckily for them, this dude was not about that life. But just because they're not being overly aggressive or anything like that, you still have to treat them as if they are a potential threat, and they do that appropriately. They drag him out of the vehicle and they cuff him. Once he's cuffed, then they can figure out what's going on and see what the deal is with this guy. It sounded like he said something about he took my car.
Yep. Crawl toward me now. Come on.
I didn't do anything. You took my car.
Yeah, can't really understand what he says. It almost sounds like he says he took my car. So this guy could be a true victim. This guy who broke into the house after running from the police, that dude could have taken this dude in the back seat on a ride that he did not want to go on, and this guy was basically kidnapped. Don't know if that's what happened or not, but that is a possibility. But like I said, you have no idea right there in the moment, so that's why this guy's getting cuffed, and they're gonna figure stuff out. I don't know what this dude's involvement is. I think the press release didn't really have a whole lot of information on it. Alright, on to the next camera. This one is a shorter video. It's only a minute long. So this person didn't even turn their camera on until late into the game. Skip through. Oh. So they actually don't even have their camera on when they get out of the car. And I'll pause that right now while I talk about that. Ideally, you want your camera on and recording before you ever get out of the car. Because once you get out of that car and you start getting involved in stuff, you may not have that opportunity to hit activate on that camera. And you could lose a lot of crucial evidence, stuff that could help exonerate you, stuff that could help move along that investigative process a lot quicker.
Get it, go! gun! Get a gun! Get there! Get a gun! Drop it! Drop the gun now! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop the gun! Drop your fucking hands! Drop your fucking hands! Drop your hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Watch them cuffing on your back. Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Watch your back. Get on the ground! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Come here, fucking ass! Back up! Back up! Hey! Get this up! To the house! 1, 2, 3! Stop right now! Stop it! I see police!
So you hear him say, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. And they say that multiple times. At this point, I believe they're justified in using deadly physical force against this guy. Why wait to give them the opportunity to start shooting at you? Action beats reaction. And this is where the bad guys generally have the advantage. They typically get to make that first move. And when you get to make that first move, you have a lot of power with that, because it is hard for people to react to what you've done in time to save themselves from getting hit. I can tell you that if we were standing face to face and we had our hands out close to each other, I could tell you I'm going to slap your hands before you can move your hands back in time to prevent me from hitting them. And I can guarantee you the majority of the time I will be able to slap your hands before you can quickly pull them away from me. Action beats reaction. This guy's an imminent threat. Very imminent threat. They verbalize. You hear people saying he's trying to go in that house. He's trying that door handle. He's trying to go in there. He's got a gun. He's touching the door handle of that house trying to go in. That is automatic right there. Green light. To protect and serve. The people in that house need to be protected. Don't want to give this guy the chance to go in there and take a hostage. Get it down now! Get it down! Get it down! Get there! Get it down! Drop it! Drop the gun now! Drop the gun! Drop it! Drop the gun! Drop your fucking hands! Drop your fucking hands! Drop your hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Watch them cuffing on your back. Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground! Watch your back. Get on the ground! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Come here, fucking ass! Back up! Back up! Hey! Get this up! To the house! 1, 2, 3! Stop right now! Stop it! I see police! Yeah. All right. Moving on. All right. Here's the next one. Skip through this. It's useless.
What do you say?
I think there's one right here in front of the red car.
They fled? Okay.
Watch crossfire.
Okay, yeah, watch crossfire.
Yes.
Where did he flee to? Did he say? Hold on.
Stay up here. They are non-compliant. Still in the alley, facing southbound. None of them have exited the car yet.
Hey, yeah, watch that crossfire. Gotcha, let's... Yeah. Block the alley! Block the alley! Hurry, hurry, hurry!
Watch out for crossfire.
So in all reality, this is not a very good job of blocking this alley, because I can guarantee you if this guy came barreling down this way, he's going to get out between this spot right here.
All right. To the left. Here.
Have his badge hanging from I've never seen anybody hang their badge from the freaking spotlight before. That is stupid.
Yeah, they're going to be trying to come out 13th West. They're coming towards you now. There they are.
After an arrested premature labor, your doctor will most likely order
what the hell
labor.
is
Your
that
doctor for a few more. After an arrested premature labor, your doctor will most likely order.
Son of a bitch.
Whoever's got eyes on, call it out.
I got eyes. We're headed southbound on 500 south. Sorry, eastbound 500 south.
Sorry, I didn't know they were.
Is Star 9 available?
Working on it.
skip through some of this.
Approaching Indiana from Cheyenne southbound. Looks like they're gonna go eastbound.
So I thought I saw a face right here. I don't know what this is.
Indiana.
Come to hands! Hands up! Hands up!
Alright, so
Eastbound Indiana.
Come to hands!
so almost seems like he slammed into the police car. That's definitely assault on a peace officer right there.
Hands up! Hands up!
Tie down. They slipped up onto the sidewalk. Sidewalk number 1, continuing southbound, just past 700 south of Cheyenne. Yeah, I'll call you. We know it's on Cheyenne, approaching 600 south. Traffic speed through 50. Through 600 approaching.
So that looks like a phone holder device or something. It's like a little doggy face or something. Yeah, that's what it is. It's made to hold a phone. First I thought it was like a little like stuffed animal kind of thing.
Speeds are 50 and northbound approaching the I-80.
Kind of a childish looking phone holder for an adult male, but it's whatever.
Off the tires, down the rim. North. You're looking for containment.
Contain the house! Show me your fucking hands! Show me your fucking hands! Show me your fucking hands! Hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your fucking hands! Show me your fucking hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Hey! Okay, gotcha. Hey.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Fuck you! Get on the ground!
Watch it! Taser!
Get on the ground! Shots fired!
Show me your fucking ass! Back up! Hey! Get this out! We gotta get in there! Show me your fucking ass! Stop right now! Stop right there! Right now! Stop right there!
I really wish they wouldn't have cut this video short. Alright, so...
Show me your fucking ass!
So right here, he decides to take his flashlight out and utilize that to illuminate the bad guy. I don't think that was the best move. I think the best thing to be doing is to be utilizing the weapon-mounted light. You've already got your gun pointed at this guy. It's already established this guy is a threat. You can point your gun at him with the light attached to it. There's nothing wrong with that. By utilizing the weapon-mounted light, you're going to be able to keep both hands on the gun. And when it comes to a handgun, that is of the utmost importance. You get to keep both hands on that gun to better stabilize the gun itself and try to reduce as much movement into that gun as possible, because the littlest amount of movement in a pistol can throw your shot placement way off. You're dealing with a gun that has a very short barrel. Just the tiniest amount of movement just from merely pulling the trigger can cause that barrel to shift enough to the side that it throws your shot placement off by inches. And depending on the distance, it could be feet. So in this scenario here, I don't think it was a good idea to bring out the flashlight. The flashlight should have just stayed where it was, and he should have activated the weapon-mounted light.
Show me your fucking hands! Hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your fucking hands! Show me your fucking hands! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Hey! Okay, gotcha. Hey.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Fuck you! Get on the ground!
So he is approaching with gun in one hand, taser in the other. I understand what he's thinking about here. He is thinking about trying to resolve this situation utilizing a less lethal weapon so that they don't have to use deadly physical force against this guy, but he's also wanting his gun out for lethal cover in the event that there is a failure with a taser, which there are failures with tasers. I think it would have been better if he could have articulated or communicated with the officers there, hey, I'm going to go less lethal. I need you all to provide lethal cover for me. And then someone could walk with him while he is aiming taser, two-handed, trying to get as good as a stabilization on that weapon as possible, and fire just the taser only into the guy. That, I think, would have been the better option. The problem with this is you can have sympathetic reflex. So basically, if one finger, and this occurs mostly under stress. Like right now, cool, calm conditions, you can take both your index fingers, your trigger fingers, hold them out in front of you, and just squeeze one of them, like you're mimicking pulling the trigger, and the other one's not going to move, right? But under stress, if you pull one finger, that can cause a reflex movement in the other, and you can actually move them at the same time. That is why it is not recommended to utilize your index finger to push the talk button on a radio, using your thumb instead, because your thumb's not going to be in the trigger finger. I'm sorry, not in the trigger finger, being in the trigger guard. So there is a real possibility that as he pulls the trigger on this taser and under stress, he could inadvertently pull the trigger on this gun as well. Now, if that would have happened...
Taser!
I hate this damn mouse on this thing. Now, if that would have happened like that, he still would have been justified in using deadly physical force against the guy. It would have technically, been a negligent discharge, but at the end of the day, due to the circumstances, this guy having a gun and everything, he still would have been justified using deadly physical force against that guy. But a negligent discharge is a bad thing to occur, and we don't want that to occur. So if you're going to be going to taser, you need to be having just one hand on the taser. Your gun doesn't need to be out at that point.
Taser! Get out of the ground! Shots fired!
So I don't know what
Taser!
the hell.
Get out of the ground! Shots fired!
Like, I don't know what that was. Like, it looked yellow, and at first I thought it was a taser following him, and I was like, there's nobody up there. Like, what the hell is that thing?
Taser! Get out of the ground! Shots fired!
I have no idea what that thing could be.
Shots fired! Give me your fucking ass! Back up! Hey! Get this out! We gotta get in there! Give me your fucking ass! Stop right now! Stop right there!
So you can kind of see his outline. He's kind of standing right in there. Well, he's not standing there anymore. Let me see if I can drop the speed down on this. Drop the sound so we don't have the... Oh, this is a good one. So I didn't notice this to begin with. Trying to utilize your gun hand while you have a gun in it to hold something else. You don't ever want to do that. The gun or the hand that's holding your gun needs to be dedicated to just that gun only. Don't be trying to use it as a freaking catch-all for other stuff. And again, going back to what I said earlier about this weapon-mounted light, use the weapon-mounted light for illumination purposes. This is a deadly force scenario. It's okay to be using your light for searching at this point. You know the dude's right in there. All you got to do is provide enough illumination in there and then get the gun pointed at him. Having this utility light out serves no purpose whatsoever. He needs to either stow it in a pouch or just drop it to the ground, get rid of it, and go to the gun, get the gun pointed at the bad guy, and smoke the bad guy. And boom, you can see if I can pause it with the light in the background just right. Boom, that guy was right there. That's not a good freeze frame. Alright, so that just wasn't a good freeze frame. You can kind of see him right there. See if I can get it just right. Probably not going to be able to freeze frame it just right. It's probably about the best I'm going to be able to get. I'm not going to try it anymore. Dude's right there. All he has to do at this point: extend gun out with good two-handed grip, activate weapon-mounted light, front sight, focus on center mass, and just bang, bang, bang. It's that simple. Like I said earlier, this guy has broken into someone else's home. He is in their dwelling. He's armed. He could take a hostage. There is no giving verbal commands at this point. This dude has forfeited any right or privilege to receive any verbal commands past this point. There's no more talking to be done. The only thing that needs to be done is shooting this dude in the fucking face. Alright, moving on. Alright, so this one's a very short one. So obviously this guy did not activate his camera until very late into the game. He's got a rifle though. Yes. So this guy, let's talk about this dude real quick. So this dude was riding around with a rifle right there in front of him. So when I do these videos, my biggest chief complaint is officers neglecting to get rifles out when they need to be getting them out. And I talk about ways to have your rifle out and ready, and this is one of the ways that I recommend doing it. As you're going to something, get the rifle out. Get it out of its storage place. Now, in this scenario, I think he probably had this in the cab of the vehicle. I kind of almost doubt that he had it in the trunk area. It's possible that when they were out on foot or something, in the earlier part, that he did retrieve it from the trunk area and then he had it there at the scene to begin with. That's plausible. I don't know that for sure, but that's plausible. The other scenario is once they got back in the vehicles and they're taking off and they're doing this pursuit thing, that the gun was in the cab of the vehicle. He disengaged the locking mechanism, pulled the rifle out, and then put it in front of him while they're driving and got this thing ready. So that is what I preach. That's what I say to do. If you're going to a call that is involving deadly weapons, that's an increased likelihood of you being involved in a gunfight. So you get a call for a person with a gun, some kind of disturbance thing going on, there's a weapon involved. You stop before you ever get there. You stop, get your rifle out, charge it, turn the sights on if you have to, remove any dust caps from sights, whatever. Danger that bitch up. Get it ready for the fight. Sling it around your neck, let the muzzle ride between your knees, your thighs as you're driving down the road, and then when you get there on scene and you dismount from your vehicle, boom, you've got a rifle right there ready to put into play at moment's notice. this guy has this rifle ready, and he is able to put this thing into play at moment's notice. So, good job to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any fucking pep in his step. Like, what the fuck are you walking for? I love the fact that he had a rifle out. He had it ready, but you gotta pick up the pace there, buddy. All right, moving on. All right. We'll skip through the buffer mode. Looks like this guy has a rifle ready as well. Alright. These two guys. I like these guys. So he obviously approached from a different angle, got there as this pursuit's, already been going on. Now he is going in.
Hey, keep cover on him.
Yeah, I got him. Can you get out of the vehicle? Get out of the vehicle.
Let me blow up real
Throw
quick.
me now. Throw me now.
Hold up.
It's just unfortunate that the other guy with the rifle or this guy with the rifle did not get any closer up there to where the real threat was and was able to put their rifles into play. If they would have been able to put their rifles into play right from the get-go when shots got fired on the outside of the house, there's a pretty good possibility that one of them could have shot rifle round into that bad guy, dropped him right there in the yard, and he never would have had the chance to go inside that home and victimize the people in that home. But like I talked about the other one, I love the fact that these two dudes had their rifles out and ready while they're driving down the road. The only thing I'd have to say about this guy is he did not have his sling deployed. He had it in a stowed position on the rifle. I think it would have been a better thing if he would have popped that thing loose, drape the sling around his neck, wear the rifle like a necklace of sorts, and that way he can still, utilize both hands for the vehicle and, operate the siren, the radio, all that crap, and then still retain the rifle because he's got the sling looped around his neck and it's dangling right there in front of him. But I can't stress enough how important it is to have your rifle ready so that when you dismount from the vehicle, boom, you can put it into play. All right, moving on. All right, here is the last body cam footage. So we're in buffer mode. Nothing's going on. We'll skip through some of this.
Very low speed. We're just kind of cruising along. Westbound, westbound. Clear 500, approaching 400 south, still northbound.
Did you guys see what it was?
No, we were not close.
Yeah, that's just foam.
Start Vector, Sir Jeffrey, drive. Start. Two front tires. Get ready for containment.
Hey, hold up. Let me glove up real quick. Hold up.
Come on. Took my car.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in cuffs real quick.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
Keep your hand behind your back.
Okay. Okay.
I got it.
All right, so not much with this one. I don't even know why they included this one. There's really nothing of value out of this last footage here. So yeah, an interesting case. Lots of different camera footage angles and two different bad guys at two different locations, so you almost got like two different scenes going on right there. And one of the scenes is the dude busting through the window of someone's house and going in there. Definitely a wild one, an oddball one. And as I mentioned, there's just some things that can be difficult to train for when you look at just a flat range training, just shooting at paper targets on the flat range during the day. You need to incorporate utilizing some kind of barriers, obstacles, whatever, to force students into firing from odd positions, firing into odd angles, having to defeat something as stupid and as simple as window blinds, like having to try to replicate a window frame and having to pull those window shades out of the way, or rip them down, whatever, and then shoot target on the inside. Something to add to the learning experience for the students. That way, if they ever come into some oddball kind of thing like this, it's not going to be that super stressful to them. They've already experienced oddball shooting positions and angles and stuff like that before, and it's something that they're going to be able to work through a lot easier. I don't want to put a whole lot of emphasis on competition shooting as being something to count as training. I do think that there is some stuff with competition shooting that is damaging. I think it can cause training scars on some things. But the nice thing about competition shooting is it does, well, depending on where you go and what kind of competition shooting you do, they can allow for you to shoot at odd positions, like forcing you to have to get into a like a prone position and shoot under some kind of barrier, and having to lay on your side to get a better angle through some kind of, you know, shooting hole that you can only look through one hole on this, you know, barrier thing, or having to, you know, squat and bend a certain way to aim through a hole to shoot a target. Those things are learning experiences, and those are some benefits to competition shooting. And if you have not been to competitions before, I'd recommend going, checking them out. Like I said, there are some things I think that can be training scars, but the benefit is, depending on how they have some of the scenarios set up, some of the scenarios can be beneficial, in my opinion. It allows you to do something that you may have never done before, and that goes into, and I hate using this term, toolbox, but it goes into, I'll say Rolodex, because nobody, or I don't want to say nobody, but hardly anybody uses that term. So that experience goes into your mental Rolodex, and when you come across something similar to it, your Rolodex doesn't keep spinning. It goes, click, it stops. Oh, I've experienced something like this before. This is how I solved that problem in that one scenario. This is how I could solve the problem in this one. And it allows you to make a quicker decision, versus if you've never experienced that before and your mental Rolodex is continuing to rotate, is continuing to spin, trying to come across something that is experienced before. All right. So not much else to talk about with this case. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.